I was staring at my phone, my hands shaking as I replayed the video my uncle had just sent me. My sister, the one person I trusted most, was laughing, mocking me. Her words cut through me like a blade. He actually fell for it! I played him so well. My heart pounded. Was this a joke? A misunderstanding? Number. The smug look on her face told me everything. Betrayal burned in my chest, but I swallowed the rage. I wouldn't react, not yet. If she thought she had won, she was wrong. I stayed silent, but only for now. Liam sat on the edge of his bed, his phone clutched so tightly in his hand that his knuckles turned white. His heart pounded violently in his chest, each beat echoing like a war drum in his ears. The room felt suffocating, his vision blurring at the edges as he stared at the video his Uncle Ray had just sent him. With a deep breath, he pressed play. The screen lit up, revealing a dimly lit room. Emily, his sister, the person he had trusted more than anyone, sat comfortably on a couch, her legs curled beneath her as she scrolled through her phone. But it wasn't just her presence that sent a chill down Liam's spine. It was the sound. Laughter, her laughter. It was light, careless, like she had just shared the greatest joke in the world. But the words that followed made Liam's blood turn to ice. Can you believe it? He actually fell for it. I played him so well. I swear I almost felt bad. Almost. Liam's breath hitched. She was talking about him. The realization clawed its way into his chest, a sharp, twisting pain that made him feel like he was suffocating. His own sister, the person he had defended countless times, the person he had stood up for when no one else would, had been toying with him like he was nothing more than a pawn in her little game. The voices in the background erupted into laughter, encouraging her, celebrating whatever cruel trick she had pulled. Liam never saw it coming, Emily continued, flipping her hair back. He really thought I had his back. God, I almost feel guilty, but it was just too easy. Liam swallowed hard, but his throat felt dry, like he had been force-fed sand. A part of him wanted to believe there was some kind of mistake. Maybe she was talking about someone else. Maybe this was some kind of joke. But deep down, he knew the truth. The way she smirked, the self-satisfaction in her tone. She wasn't sorry. She wasn't remorseful. She was proud. The betrayal settled over him like a heavy weight, pressing down on his chest, suffocating him. He thought back to all the times he had trusted her, all the secrets he had shared, all the times he had defended her when no one else would. And this was how she repaid him? His hands trembled, but not with sadness. Number. This was rage, cold, calculated, burning just beneath the surface. Emily thought she had won. She thought he would never find out. She thought he would be too blind, too naive to ever see through her lies. She was wrong. Liam inhaled deeply, forcing his emotions into a tight, controlled ball inside him. He wouldn't act impulsively. That's exactly what she would expect. That's what all of them would expect. A blind reaction, anger, confrontation, number. He wouldn't give them that satisfaction. He would wait, watch, plan. Betrayal didn't just hurt, it taught. And Liam had just learned the most valuable lesson of all. Never trust blindly. His jaw clenched, his eyes darkening as he locked his phone and set it aside. For now, he would stay silent. For now. But when the time came, they wouldn't even see it coming. Liam's fingers trembled as he replayed the video for the third time, his heart hammering in his chest. The dim glow of his phone screen cast eerie shadows across his face, illuminating the raw betrayal that contorted his features. Can you believe it? He actually fell for it. I played him so well. His sister Emily was laughing. Laughing. She wasn't just recounting a harmless prank. No, this was something much deeper, something malicious. She was gloating about how easily she had deceived him, how effortlessly she had manipulated his trust. Liam had always believed that blood meant loyalty, that family was supposed to be a shield, not a weapon. But here he was, spent his life protecting. His vision blurred as anger clawed at his throat. What had she done? What was she talking about? His uncle had sent him this video without context, just a cryptic message. You deserve to know the truth. The truth. That was what Liam had always sought in life. He was the type of person who gave people the benefit of the doubt, who always assumed the best intentions. He had defended Emily countless times, stood up for her when others doubted her. And now, she was the one who had betrayed him. His grip on the phone tightened as he fought back the nausea rolling in his gut. I played him so well. Each word was a dagger, twisting deeper into his chest. He actually thought Liam inhaled sharply, trying to steady himself. The room suddenly felt suffocating, the air thick with something ugly, something he had never felt before. Hatred, not just anger, not just pain, but pure, seething hatred. His own sister, the one person who was supposed to stand by his side, the one person he had never doubted, and she had used him. His mind raced back through their childhood, through every moment they had shared. The inside jokes, the secrets whispered in the dark, the promises of, I've got your back, always. Lies. Had it all been lies? His stomach twisted as memories surfaced. Times when she had conveniently needed his help, times when he had defended her, times when he had taken the fall for things she had done. Had she been playing him all along? A choked, bitter laugh escaped his throat. How blind had he been? His hands shook as he pushed himself off the bed, pacing the room like a caged animal. The walls seemed to close in, suffocating him with the weight of his own foolishness. He had always been the good brother, the reliable one, the one who forgave. But not this time. This time, he wasn't going to be the fool. He grabbed his phone and scrolled to Emily's contact, his thumb hovering over the call button. Confront her, demand an explanation, force her to tell you why. But then, no. A confrontation would mean nothing. She would deny it. She would gaslight him, turn it around, make him feel crazy. And if there was one thing Liam was certain of now, it was that Emily was a master manipulator. If he wanted to truly make her feel what he was feeling, he couldn't act on impulse. He had to be smarter, more patient, more ruthless. The realization settled over him like a second skin, cold and unyielding. The Liam who had trusted her, who had loved her unconditionally, was gone. What remained was someone new, someone who was going to make her pay. Later that night, Liam sat in the dimly lit kitchen, his fingers drumming against the wooden table. The house was silent, except for the occasional creak of the floorboards above. Emily was in her room, blissfully unaware that her carefully woven web of lies had finally snapped. He had spent years believing that love meant forgiveness, that no matter what, family deserved second chances. But what if some betrayals were too deep to forgive? What if some wounds never healed? His mind spiraled as he considered his options. He could expose her. He could destroy whatever facade she had built, make sure that everyone saw her for what she truly was. But that wasn't enough. She needed to feel it. She needed to experience the same soul-crushing pain that was currently ripping through him, and Liam was going to make sure she did. Slowly, methodically, without warning. He exhaled, a strange sense of calm washing over him. For the first time in his life, he wasn't going to be the one who got played. This time, it was his turn to play the game, and Emily wouldn't even see it coming. Liam sat alone in his dimly lit apartment, the weight of betrayal pressing down on him like an avalanche. The video from his uncle replayed in his mind, each cruel laugh from Emily slicing deeper into his soul. I can't believe how easy it was, she had chuckled in the video, her voice dripping with amusement. Liam actually thought I cared. Pathetic. Liam gritted his teeth, his hands clenching into fists. This wasn't just a betrayal, it was a complete annihilation of his trust, his dignity, and his life. And yet, He forced himself to stay calm. Anger was reckless. Revenge, however, was precise. He had to be smart. He had to be ruthless. And most importantly, he had to make sure she never saw it coming. The first rule of war: know your enemy. Emily had spent years weaving a web of lies, deceit, and manipulation. She was cunning, always one step ahead, always knowing exactly how to twist reality in her favor. If Liam wanted to take her down, he had to understand how she operated. He grabbed his laptop and started digging. First, he revisited every red flag he had ignored, the inconsistencies in her stories, the way she had isolated him from his friends, the whispers behind his back, the people who had suddenly turned on him. Then, he pulled up old messages, social media posts, and emails. It didn't take long before he found patterns. Emily had framed him at work by forging emails. She had leaked false rumors to his ex, making him seem like a liar. She had manipulated his friends, convincing them that he was the problem. And the worst part? She had done it not out of necessity, but for fun. Liam is too trusting. He'll never see it coming. Those words, typed in a text to one of her friends, sent a chill down his spine. She had treated his life like a game. It was time to change the rules. Every manipulator had a flaw. And Liam knew Emily's. She thrived on control. Take that away, and she'd unravel. She relied on her reputation. Ruin that, and she'd lose everything. She trusted that Liam was weak. Prove her wrong, and she'd never recover. Liam smirked. If Emily loved control, he'd make sure she lost grip on reality. If she valued her reputation, he'd turn it into her downfall. And if she thought Liam was weak, he'd make her beg for mercy. Liam couldn't attack head-on. That would be too obvious. Instead, he had to make her self-destruct. Phase 1, plant doubts among her allies. Phase 2, ruin her professional reputation. Phase 3, expose her in a way she couldn't escape. Emily had surrounded herself with loyal followers, people who admired her charm and manipulation skills. But loyalty was fragile. Liam started small. He created fake accounts and began sending anonymous messages to her closest friends. Subtle hints, little pieces of truth, carefully mixed with just enough mystery to create paranoia. Are you sure Emily is telling you everything? She said the same thing about you to someone else. Remember what happened to Liam? You could be next. Doubt was a virus, and once it spread, there was no stopping it. Emily's once loyal circle started whispering, second-guessing, questioning everything she said. The queen was losing her kingdom. Next, Liam moved to her career. Emily had climbed the corporate ladder by stealing credit and sabotaging colleagues. Liam dug deeper and found undeniable evidence. Emails, documents, and voice recordings proving she had fabricated reports and manipulated her way to the top. He sent everything to her boss anonymously. Within a week, an internal investigation was launched. Within 2 weeks, Emily was placed on probation. The perfect storm was brewing. Liam wasn't satisfied with just ruining her reputation. He wanted her to feel what he had felt: the isolation, the betrayal, the humiliation. So he set up the perfect trap. He arranged for a public confrontation, one Emily wouldn't escape. A gathering of her closest friends and colleagues, people she had lied to, manipulated, and used. And at the right moment, Liam leaked everything. The messages, the proof of her schemes, the video of her laughing at his downfall. It spread like wildfire. Emily, the queen of deception, was finally exposed. And the best part? She had no one left to turn to. Liam didn't gloat. He didn't smile. He simply walked away, leaving her to face the destruction she had created. Will he get caught? The beauty of Liam's revenge? He had done nothing illegal. No threats, no violence, no crimes. Just the truth. And the truth? It was the deadliest weapon of all. Liam had spent weeks, maybe even months, setting the pieces into place. Every action, every planted seed of doubt, every whispered rumor, all of it was done with absolute precision. His revenge was not just about getting even. It was about making Emily feel the very same pain she had inflicted on him. He wanted her to lose everything, her reputation, her power, her control over people. But if there was one thing Liam had learned, it was that revenge was never simple. Just when he thought he was in complete control of the game changed. Liam had been methodical, but he had made one crucial miscalculation. He had underestimated Emily's survival instincts. The moment she sensed things were starting to fall apart, she did what she always did, manipulate and lie her way out of it. She started fighting back. It began with small things. Her friends, who had started doubting her, suddenly turned back in her favor. The people Liam had fed information to suddenly became distant from him. His carefully crafted web of deception started to fall apart at the seams. Emily had sensed danger and done what she did best, twisted the truth. She fabricated a completely new narrative, one where Liam was the villain. She told people he was obsessed with her. She claimed he had been stalking her, spreading rumors out of jealousy. She even faked messages to make it look like Liam had been harassing her. And the worst part? People believed her. Liam felt his stomach drop when he realized what was happening. Emily wasn't just a liar. She was a master manipulator, and she wasn't going down without a fight. Liam knew he couldn't fight Emily alone. That's why he had trusted Daniel, his closest friend, to help him execute the plan. Daniel had been there since the beginning. He had helped gather evidence, had been there to listen when Liam poured out his frustrations, and had stood by his side when they started the plan. Or so Liam thought. One night, Liam received an anonymous message. The subject line was simple: "You trusted the wrong person." Attached was a screenshot of a conversation between Emily and Daniel. Liam's hands shook as he read it. Daniel had betrayed him. He had been feeding Emily every detail of their plan. He had warned her about the traps Liam was setting. He had played both sides from the very beginning. "Liam thinks he's so smart," Daniel had texted Emily, "but he has no idea I'm watching his every move." Liam felt a wave of rage, disappointment, and betrayal wash over him. His own best friend had sold him out. And worst of all, Emily now had the upper hand. For the first time, Liam wasn't sure if he could win. Liam knew he had to act fast. Emily and Daniel had outmaneuvered him, but they had made one fatal mistake. They underestimated how far he was willing to go. Instead of confronting Daniel, Liam did something more dangerous. He fed him false information. He made it seem like he had one final major move planned against Emily, something that would ruin her permanently. And, as expected, Daniel ran straight to Emily with the fake details. Emily thought she was outsmarting him. She thought she was going to expose Liam first and destroy him. But when she did, she ended up exposing herself. She publicly revealed secrets that Liam had never even planned to release. And the best part? Liam had recorded everything. Emily had been so focused on destroying him that she didn't realize she had walked into a trap. Now, Liam had evidence against both of them. And this time, there was no escape. It was time to end it all. Liam had every piece of evidence he needed: Emily's lies, Daniel's betrayal, the manipulation, the backstabbing, and he wasn't going to let them walk away unscathed. He sent the final email, an anonymous drop to Emily's boss, her closest friends, her family, and most importantly, social media. Everything went public: screenshots, recordings, proof of her deception. And within hours, the consequences came crashing down. Emily's boss called her in immediately. She tried to lie her way out of it, but the evidence was undeniable. She was fired on the spot. Her friends abandoned her within hours. Her family stopped answering her calls. Her reputation completely destroyed. And Daniel, he tried to beg for forgiveness. But Liam, he didn't even look at him. Liam watched from the shadows as Emily's world crumbled around her. He saw her frantically trying to do damage control, but it was too late. The people she had used, the lies she had told, the trust she had broken, it had all caught up to her. For the first time in her life, she had lost control. And Liam? He walked away. Because revenge wasn't just about watching someone fall. It was about knowing they would never rise again. And that was the most satisfying part of all. This expanded version adds extra depth to the execution of the revenge. More intense mind games, unexpected betrayals, last-minute twists that change everything. A deeply satisfying climax where the villain is completely destroyed. Liam sat alone in his apartment, the glow of his laptop screen flickering in the dimly lit room. The world outside moved on. Cars honked, people laughed, and life continued as if nothing had happened. But for Emily, everything had changed. He had watched it unfold, moment by moment. The furious social media storm, the panicked phone calls, the desperate attempts to salvage her reputation. But it was too late. Emily had been exposed. Her carefully curated image of perfection had crumbled into dust. Her boss had fired her. Her friends had abandoned her. Her family, embarrassed and ashamed, had distanced themselves. And Daniel, he had disappeared. Too much of a coward to face the wreckage he had helped create. Liam should have felt victorious. He had won, hadn't he? Was it worth it? Liam exhaled slowly, rubbing his temples as exhaustion settled into his bones. He had spent months planning this revenge. Every detail, every move, every carefully placed trap, it had all led to this moment. And yet, something felt off. He had expected relief, satisfaction, maybe even happiness. Instead, all he felt was emptiness. He had dedicated himself to destroying Emily, making sure she felt the same pain, the same betrayal, and he had succeeded. But in the process, he had lost something too: himself. Liam's phone buzzed on the table, a message from his sister, Ava. "I don't know what you did, but Emily is finished. Was it really necessary?" He stared at the message, his chest tightening. Ava had no idea how deep the betrayal had run. She didn't know how Emily had laughed behind his back, how she had used him, discarded him like he meant nothing. And yet, for the first time he wondered, had he gone too far? Emily had been cruel, but now she was ruined. And Liam? He was alone. Days passed, then weeks. Emily's downfall became yesterday's news. People moved on, but Emily didn't. Rumors swirled that she had left the city, too ashamed to face anyone. Liam spotted Daniel once, at a coffee shop, looking over his shoulder like a man afraid of his own shadow. Their eyes met briefly, but Daniel quickly looked away. Liam hadn't just destroyed Emily. He had left wreckage behind, not just for them, but for himself. Because the truth was, revenge didn't fix anything. It didn't undo the hurt, the betrayal, the nights he had spent questioning his worth. It had simply left a new kind of emptiness in its place. One evening, Liam found himself standing outside Emily's old apartment. The windows were dark. She was gone. A part of him had wanted this, for her to disappear, to feel the weight of what she had done. But another part of him, it felt like he had just erased a piece of himself in the process. Because now there was no more battle to fight, no more war to win, just silence. And for the first time he wondered, had he let her take too much of him? Had he been so focused on revenge that he had become just as ruthless as her? Maybe. But there was one last choice to make. Liam took out his phone, stared at Ava's message for a long moment, then finally typed out a response. I don't know if it was necessary, but it's over now. He hit send. Then, slowly, he turned away from Emily's empty apartment. It was time to walk away from the past, because revenge had given him justice, but it had also chained him to the very person he had wanted to destroy. And if he didn't let go now, he never would. With one final glance over his shoulder, Liam took a deep breath and walked away. Because in the end, the real revenge wasn't about destroying Emily. It was about freeing himself from her forever. Sometimes, the greatest revenge is letting go.